page, the best guy to see on the worst day of your life. Welcome to Life's About Living. I have with me today a very interesting person and a very interesting topic. I have with me Dr. Michael Grayson. Michael, how are you today?
Excellent. How about yourself?
Man, I'm great, Michael. I'm just so glad that you're on the show. I know you've got an interesting story, and I want to get to your story, but I want to just think about this morning. I did an operation on a lady who had no insurance. First of all, she had breast cancer, and I had to do a breast cancer operation on her, and she had to pay cash. And then she had to have a gallbladder surgery. And so This lady is really struggling with a lot of financial issues. And we see this a lot in medicine. I know this is kind of what inspired you to do what you do. So I'm going to let you tell us your story, Michael.
Okay. All right. So 2 years ago, I stepped on a nail.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and I had a little problem with my feet even before that, so I didn't really realize it immediately. It took me like 2 or 3 days to realize the nail. And so, as soon as I stepped on, I pulled the nail out, and so I set an appointment for my doctor. And the doctor said, the answering service said, we see here in your records that you still have a balance for your last surgery. I had a surgery that, it was in excess of $600,000. So I still had a balance.
Wow.
Small, relatively small. So immediately I applied for patient financing to cover that. It was $30,000. I was approved instantly because I had very good credit. And so I set about to pay him so I could go and see my regular doctor. Right. But unfortunately, Equifax, for some reason, they didn't like my credit score, or they didn't like me personally, and they reversed my credit. So they put negative data on my credit. It dropped my credit score. I'm always in the 800s. So it dropped down to the 400s. And they went so far as to contact Care Credit and said, hey, this account was set up through fraud.
Wow.
So they canceled my patient financing.
So you couldn't get the health care that you needed and this happened pretty much overnight, it sounds like.
Overnight, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
hey, by the way, did you have diabetes and peripheral neuropathy?
Yes, the neuropathy was the
Gotcha. So you couldn't feel your feet. By the way, if you're a diabetic, and always look at your feet every day. So anyway, go ahead, Michael.
And nobody ever told me. What you just said is very important because nobody ever told me that. And, because I couldn't see my doctor. So now I went on Google and started just finding a podiatrist to help me to look at my foot because I pulled the nail out, I was still very sickly. I had a fever, some issues that I associated with infection. So I went to the doctor and have him just check it out. So I went to a doctor that I pulled randomly out of the internet. And unfortunately, he misdiagnosed it. He looked at my foot and he said, oh, it looks okay. Everything looks good. He said, come back and see him in 2 months. Now, unfortunately, after about a month, I was still getting sicker and sicker, but I had a speaking engagement in LA at the time. So I said, I'm going to do this engagement, then I'm going to come back and see the doctor after that.
How'd that go for you?
How'd
that work out for you?
Man, listen, I was sick on the plane that they wouldn't let me off the plane. They called 911. They brought a gurney to get me off of and they said, look, we're going to take you to the hospital like right now. I said, you can't do that. I'm speaking before some major movie executives, and they spent a lot of money to bring me here and hear what I got to say. So I got workshop, so I was like, I'll tough it out. So I went to the workshop. I actually delivered the workshop, but I was walking back from the workshop to my room and I passed out. So at that point, they took me to the hospital. The surgeon looked at me. He said, man, you should have been in surgery 15 minutes ago. When they did the x-ray, they found a small microscopic piece of metal still in my foot. It had got infected. At that point, it had gangrene.
Wow, Michael.
So because it had gangrene, it started to destroy my organs. Yeah. So even though they wanted me in surgery right away, I could not go because they had to rebuild my organs.
Yeah, you're too sick.
I was too sick.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. We're probably going to, if the healthcare system keeps going the way it's going, Michael, we're probably going to be doing, you know, amputations in the back of a pickup truck. So anyway, but you did survive.
I did survive. And fortunately for me, I had an idea of, you know, I'm a PhD in business administration, but I'm a mini expert on a lot of different things. And so when it comes to my health, I do some research, especially in this case. And the doctors wanted to take my whole leg off. And so I got kicked out of the hospital because I refused to let them take my entire leg. They ended up taking my foot. But a part of the issue, I think, the insurance was giving them problems. In order to save my leg, I had to stay in the hospital 8 months and do some major infection therapies and things of that nature.
Wow.
Insurance was giving them grief that they didn't want to pay for it. My credit was bad. So, you know, hospitals check your credit. Most people don't understand. Hospitals and doctors check your credit prior to making recommendations. So they're giving me the bad credit option. And I'm telling them, no, I really have perfect credit, which made me sound crazy. I was like, I got an 800 credit expert. These guys made a mistake. I will qualify for patient financing, or I can borrow money. You know, up until that time, borrow $500,000 at the drop of a hat. So I was like, don't worry about your money. You know, I will be able to get these things done. And I made a big enough stink about it. So, you know, eventually they kicked me out and I had to transfer to another hospital. That time I was in California. They made me ambulatory.
You know, Michael, these things happen every day. It's amazing. It's amazing what happens to people. And, you know, first of all, there's no transparent pricing in hospitals. I know we're getting off on this. There's no transparent pricing, and it's a real mess. You know, so we've really got to have some changes. Tell me a little bit about so you continued to raise a stink about this, correct? Even after you got better.
So after I changed hospitals, the new hospital, we saw eye to eye. And at that point, my other two credit bureaus had exceeded 800. So I had a little access to capital. So I was back in control. But what I realized at that point when I did some research, I saw that, you know, 50,000 Americans die every year because they don't have adequate medical insurance. And, you know, patient financing is supposed to be there to stand in the gap when you don't have enough insurance. So in the pressure of your life, now your life is dependent on your credit, and people don't realize it. And it's not an issue, you know, even, you know, so I sued all three credit bureaus. Two of them settled with me all automatically. I'm currently in court with Equifax. So if you Google Grayson versus Equifax, we've been in court for 2 years, and believe it or not, they're on their third set of attorneys without an attorney, pro se, because what I want to do is set a precedent so that in the future, if you have a similar problem, all you have to do is take my template and sue the credit bureaus or sue the hospital, whoever's giving you a hard time, and you don't need an attorney. Because at that point in my life, I was broke because they had jammed up my credit. I had my hospital bills. You could not imagine 8 months in a hospital. So I didn't have the money to afford an attorney.
I mean, even think, Michael, right now we've got so many people that are, because of the COVID epidemic, we've got so many people that, I mean, they haven't had a steady job for months, and they have no income, and they can't pay their rent, and they have these health issues building up. And so we have some real challenges. I'll tell you, it's a real challenge as a doctor to have patients trying to get them from point A to point B and trying to help them. And yet at the same point, trying to keep the doors of my practice open and paying my 5 employees who I work for, you know. So it's a real challenge, man. I'll tell you, it's I don't know what the answer is to this, but it's really sad. But you came up with this new kind of a business model through all this. It's amazing how you took this problem and you actually turned it into some possibilities. You took your obstacle and you turned it into opportunities. I want to hear a little bit about that and hear a little bit about what you're doing now.
Okay. So, the Bible says, be thankful in all things. So there's some positive to take from every situation. Even though I lost my foot and I was in extreme pain for months and months and had to try to recuperate and fight all these institutions, it put me in mind to make sure that more Americans don't fall into the same problem. So what I did was, I'm a mathematician. So I algorithm for credit restoration that I've turned into a simple, easy to use formula. So now I set up our company, build850credit.com. And so to get people to focus on their credit. A lot of times when you have good credit or you have bad credit, you're so focused, especially coming out of COVID, you're focused on your health, you're focused on your finances. The real issue is focusing on your credit, because if you have very good credit, it can solve both of those issues. So we're doing a lot of financial literacy. I got workshops. We're booking workshops all over the country. So if there's groups out there, I teach your group. If you have a group of 100 or more people and you want to know how to build an 800 credit score in 3 to 6 months, I will teach you how to do that.
So this is so written. Michael, you've also written a book, I see.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so part of, again, what people missed coming out of COVID. So coming out of COVID, the government is always on top of your credit. They know that in order to revive the economy, you have to be able to buy houses and cars. If you don't, then there's no way to revive the economy. So the government always sets provisions to fix your credit. So the CARES Act, which everybody talks about because of the stimulus payments, nobody talks about the credit restoration side of the CARES Act. So
I didn't even know there was a credit restoration side of the CARES Act.
Piece of the legislature. So your credit has been negatively impacted by COVID. Through January 1st, 2020, the credit bureaus have to clean your credit. They have to clean it.
That's good to know.
It's so straightforward and easy to fix your credit right now. It is almost a shame for anybody to have bad credit during COVID. If you have been negatively impacted, your creditors can't mark you late. They have to clean up those late payments. They can't, charge off collection, those kinds of things. You have to sign up for the creditor deferment program. So every creditor in the country has been encouraged to offer some type of COVID creditor deferment program. Once you enroll in that, you can apply to the credit bureaus and they will fix your credit.
Hey, Michael, how can people reach you?
Okay, so the best thing is you can go to our website, which is build850credit.com, or you can call us right here in our office. We have 24-hour operators. We have a very powerful legal team that helps people. Our number is 718-481-3363. So 718-481-3363. Call us. Leave a message, call us, talk to us directly. Whatever your issue is, if you have a financial issue during COVID, it is so straightforward to resolve. The government has already bailed you out.
Michael, I want to get you back on another episode of Life's About Living, and I want you to talk with us on that episode a little bit more about how to change your credit score if it's been effective. I'm Dr. Page, the best guy to see on the worst day of your life. And we've been talking with Michael Grayson. Very, very poignant information for folks in the COVID epidemic who've been sick or have had credit problems with their health. And you can once again find his information at build850credit.com. And we're going to hear a little bit more about Michael's story in the next episode. You can also find us at lifesaboutlivingshow.com, or you can text LAL to 66866. I'm Dr. Page, the best guy to see on the worst day of your life, and I have with me Michael Grayson. Sounds like the best person to see any day of your life. We're going to see you on the next show.
Excellent. Have a great day.
Connect with us by texting LAL to 66866. If you've missed an episode that you enjoyed and want to share it with a friend or family member, you can find it on our YouTube channel, Life's About Living, or you can find it on our website, lifesaboutliving.show.com. Thanks for joining us.